Welcome to Ranked, PC Gamer's comprehensive lists of the best, the worst, and also other things. This time we look at the best PC games based on the grim, baroque universe of Warhammer 40,000. Here are our top 5. Final Liberation is a turn-based strategy game that gets the scale of conflict in the 41st millennium spot on. A mixed force of Imperial Guard and Ultramarines have to both pool their forces and then unearth an entire lost legion of Titans to repel an Orc invasion on a planetary scale. The Orcs are fast and brutishly hard to put down in hand-to-hand, but you do have artillery on your side. The peak of the 1990s 40k games, Final Liberation has two extremely 90s things about it. The first is its heavy metal soundtrack, and the second, its FMV cutscenes. Both are cheesy in exactly the right way, taken seriously by people who don't care about how ridiculous what they're doing is. In a setting where orcs with Cockney accents are a credible threat to the galaxy, and the Space Marines in blue armor are called Ultramarines, that's pretty important.
Be thankful it is known that there is no disloyalty on your part. It will weigh in your favor, should you survive. Who do you think?
Spacehawk was originally a board game about asymmetrical conflict between walking tank Space Marines and lightning-quick alien gene-stealers. The first video game version, in 1993, was atmospheric and brutally difficult, but most of the many adaptations that followed were letdowns. Except for Spacehawk Tactics. It understands the board game's fun because two players can switch sides. It's the only video game version with an entire gene-stealer campaign, and finally getting to be the aliens is a blast. It doesn't skimp on the Marine side either, and the AI plays Genestealers like a tabletop player would, lurking around corners to charge Overwatching Marines en masse, knowing their bolters are going to jam eventually. While you can control from first person, played in isometric view, this is the XCOM but with Space Marines you've been asking for. Space Marine was a revelation during the dark days of the third-person cover shooter. You're an armored superhuman, you don't need to crouch behind waist-high walls. You regain health by killing bad guys up close, charging forward with your chainsword or slamming down out of the sky thanks to the best jetpack ever.
Look out, dropship!
Each fight reminds you this is what you're genetically engineered to do. It nails the fantasy of being a Space Marine. Specifically, of being Captain Titus of the Ultramarines, voiced by Mark Strong, a man born 39 millennia too early. The Ultramarines are the Marine chapter of choice for 40k video games because they stick to the book. You don't have to explain anything extra to an audience who don't know the setting with the Ultramarines, because they're straightforward and kind of boring. The Space Marine lets them be boring, so Titus has something to rebel against. His brothers follow tactics from ancient tomes. Titus jumps out of a spaceship to fight orcs across the deck of a flying pirate ship. And that's the tutorial. Mechanicus revitalizes the turn-based tactics genre the same way Space Marine did the third-person shooter, by taking away the cover. Your band of morbid religious cyborgs don't need it. They've got disposable cannon fodder to soak up incoming Necron lasers. Your predictable enemies will only attack the closest target, and that closest target should be a replaceable cyber zombie rather than one of your leveled-up tech priests. The Adeptus Mechanicus see everything as a learning opportunity. And while their subordinates are dying, they're examining architecture and inspecting alien glyphs, gaining cognition points to spend on extra movement or activating special abilities. When you defeat a Necron, you get more cognition points with a bonus for reaching the corpse within a turn to stand over them, creepily watching the light in their artificial eyes go out. For science. The Adeptus Mechanicus normally show up as support in 40k games, but here they're the stars. And the way the mechanics accentuate their eccentricities, the droning music, and the mechanical garble that serves as their voices all fit the theme perfectly. At number 1, it's Dawn of War 1. Dawn of War has become a standard bearer for fans of build orders who miss that particular flavor of real-time strategy. But what made Dawn of War's base building great was how downplayed it was compared to the RTS games that came before it. It's not about carefully managing walls and cranking out more gatherers than the other players so your economy can triumph. There's no gold, no spice, no Vespine gas. The main way to gather resources in Dawn of War is to fight for them. You might grab some peacefully in those early moments where everyone is scouting and constructing their first power plant, but sooner than you think, it's going to kick off. Dawn of War is fast-paced. You'll soon be leading a massive force that includes hosts of tanks as well as mechs who pick up individual enemies to fling around. Zoomed out, it's a glorious mess of lasers and explosions, and zoomed in, you'll see sync kills where someone gets pinned to the ground with a spear or has their head lopped off by a demon. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war, and it kind of rules. But what about Dawn of War 2? Where the first Dawn of War is about masses of tanks and a screen full of lasers, Dawn of War 2 gives you just 4 badasses, maybe 8 replaceable squad mates, and a bunch of special abilities. A typical battle involves parking the heavy weapons and sniper in cover, charging in with your commander, then telling the assault squad to jump back over the top and setting off abilities as they come off cooldown. The boss fights can be chores, but maps where you're on the defensive, outnumbered by hordes of Tyranids or whatever, are excellent, both in single player and The Last Stand, a 3-player mode with waves of enemies and unlockable war gear. In a fair and just universe, The Last Stand was more popular than Defense of the Ancients, and inspired a whole genre, and as a result, MOBAs don't suck. Dawn of War 2 is a very good game that narrowly missed out on our top 5. Playing all the 40k games could keep you busy for 40,000 hours. If you'd rather read about them instead, check out the full ranked list, featuring every 40k game on PC at pcgamer.com.